The recent prisoner exchange between Russia and the United States has attracted significant international attention, representing a rare moment of cooperation between these two geopolitical rivals. This complex event, involving the release of several individuals held captive by both countries, raises numerous questions about the motivations behind the swap, the negotiations that led to it, and the implications for future relations between the two nations. In this detailed analysis, we will delve into the intricate details of the swap, examining the key figures involved, the geopolitical context, and the potential ramifications for both nations. Key figures involved. Evan Gershkovich, an American journalist for the Wall Street Journal, was detained in Russia on espionage charges. His arrest on March 29, 2023, sparked international outrage and widespread calls for his release. Gershkovich was accused of gathering classified information about a Russian defense contractor, allegations he and his employer vehemently denied. His detention highlighted the risks faced by journalists operating in hostile environments and underscored the increasingly tense relations between Russia and the United States. Paul Whelan, a former U.S. Marine, was convicted of espionage in Russia and sentenced to 16 years in prison in June 2020. Whelan's case had been a long-standing point of contention between the two countries. He was arrested in Moscow in December 2018 while attending a friend's wedding and was accused of possessing a USB drive containing classified information. Whelan, his family, and the US government have consistently maintained his innocence, asserting that he was framed and wrongfully detained. Vadim Krasikov, a Russian national, was convicted of murdering a Chechen dissident in Germany. Krasikov, a former Russian intelligence officer, was sentenced to life in prison in Germany for the 2019 assassination of Zelim Khan Kangoshvili, a Georgian citizen and former Chechen rebel commander. The killing, which took place in a Berlin park, was widely believed to have been carried out on behalf of the Russian government. Krasikov's extradition to Russia was a key demand for Moscow in exchange for the release of Gershkovich and Whelan. Brittney Griner, an American basketball star, was detained in Russia on drug charges in February 2022. Griner, a two-time Olympic gold medalist and WNBA player, was arrested at a Moscow airport after cannabis oil was found in her luggage. She was sentenced to 9 years in a Russian penal colony. Her case gained international attention, and her release in a previous prisoner swap with Russia in December 2022 set a precedent for further negotiations. The prisoner swap occurred against the backdrop of heightened tensions between Russia and the United States. The ongoing conflict in Ukraine, allegations of election interference, cyber attacks, and human rights abuses have exacerbated the already strained relationship between the two countries. Despite these challenges, both sides recognize the potential benefits of resolving the hostage situation through a prisoner exchange. For Russia, the exchange served as a means to secure the return of Vadim Krasikov, a valuable asset to the Russian government. Krasikov's return was likely seen as a significant victory for Moscow, allowing it to demonstrate its ability to protect and retrieve its operatives abroad. Additionally, the swap presented an opportunity for Russia to project an image of strength and resolve on the international stage, showing that it could negotiate on its terms even with a powerful adversary like the United States. For the United States, the release of Evan Gershkovich and Paul Whelan was a priority for the Biden administration. The US government had faced increasing pressure from the public and advocacy groups to secure the release of Americans wrongfully detained abroad. By successfully negotiating their release, the administration fulfilled a promise to bring home detained citizens, demonstrating the effectiveness of diplomatic efforts. This achievement was particularly significant given the challenging and often hostile nature of US-Russia relations. The negotiations leading up to the prisoner swap were conducted in secrecy, involving high-level officials from both countries. These discussions were likely complex and delicate, requiring compromises from both sides. The involvement of third-party intermediaries, such as the United Arab Emirates, may have facilitated the process by providing a neutral ground for negotiations and helping to bridge the trust gap between the two nations. Secrecy and sensitivity. Given the sensitive nature of the negotiations, maintaining secrecy was crucial to ensure the success of the talks. Any leaks or public disclosures could have jeopardized the delicate balance of the discussions and potentially derailed the exchange. Both countries had to navigate a minefield of political and diplomatic considerations, balancing domestic pressures with the need to reach a mutually acceptable agreement. Third-party intermediaries played a crucial role in the negotiations. The involvement of the United Arab Emirates, for instance, provided a neutral venue for discussions and helped facilitate communication between the two sides. These intermediaries likely assisted in conveying messages, mediating disagreements, and ensuring that both parties remained committed to the process. Their role was essential in building trust and creating an environment conducive to successful negotiations. Implications for future relations. The prisoner swap is seen as a positive development, offering a glimmer of hope for improved relations between Russia and the United States. However, it is unlikely to fundamentally alter the underlying tensions between the two nations. The exchange serves as a reminder that even in times of conflict, cooperation is possible on specific issues of mutual interest. It also highlights the importance of diplomacy and negotiation in resolving complex international disputes. The successful negotiation of the prisoner swap could pave the way for more constructive dialogue between Russia and the United States on other contentious issues. While it may not lead to a significant thaw in relations, it demonstrates that both countries can find common ground and work together when necessary. This development could encourage further diplomatic engagement and confidence-building measures, contributing to greater stability in their relationship. Despite the positive outcome of the prisoner swap, significant challenges remain. The fundamental differences between Russia and the United States on issues such as Ukraine, human rights, and election interference continue to strain their relationship. The exchange is unlikely to resolve these deep-seated issues, and both countries will need to navigate a complex and often adversarial geopolitical landscape. Additionally, the potential for future incidents of wrongful detention or espionage accusations remains a concern. The prisoner swap raises several ethical and legal questions, particularly regarding the exchange of individuals convicted of serious crimes. Critics argue that such exchanges can incentivize hostage-taking and undermine the rule of law. However, proponents contend that securing the release of wrongfully detained individuals is a moral imperative, even if it involves concessions to adversaries. One of the primary ethical concerns surrounding prisoner swaps is the potential for incentivizing hostage-taking. By exchanging individuals convicted of serious crimes for those wrongfully detained, there is a risk that other states or non-state actors may be encouraged to detain foreign nationals as bargaining chips. This could lead to an increase in such incidents, making it more challenging for countries to protect their citizens abroad. Proponents of prisoner swaps argue that the ethical imperative to secure the release of wrongfully detained individuals outweighs the potential risks. They contend that governments have a moral duty to protect their citizens and ensure their safe return, even if it involves difficult compromises. The humanitarian impact of securing the freedom of detainees and reuniting them with their families is seen as a compelling justification for pursuing such exchanges. The release of Evan Gershkovich, Paul Whelan, and other detainees has a significant humanitarian impact, reuniting families and ending years of hardship and uncertainty. the psychological and emotional toll of captivity is immense, and the return to freedom is a cause for celebration. The release of these individuals underscores the importance of prioritizing human rights and addressing the plight of those wrongfully detained. The psychological and emotional toll of captivity on detainees and their families cannot be overstated. Prolonged detention often leads to severe mental health issues, including depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. The uncertainty and fear experienced by detainees, combined with the isolation from their loved ones, exacerbate these challenges. The release of Gershkovich and Whelan represents a significant relief for them and their families, allowing them to begin the process of healing and recovery. The prisoner swap highlights the importance of upholding human rights and advocating for the release of individuals wrongfully detained. It serves as a reminder that governments and international organizations must remain vigilant in addressing human rights abuses and ensuring the protection of journalists, activists, and other vulnerable individuals. The international community's response to such cases can play a crucial role in pressuring governments to adhere to international norms and standards. The prisoner swap received extensive media coverage, generating public interest and debate. The media played a crucial role in raising awareness about the plight of the detainees and pressuring governments to secure their release. Public opinion was largely supportive of the exchange, although some voices expressed concerns about the ethical implications and the potential for future hostage-taking. The media's role in highlighting the cases of Gershkovich, Whelan, and other detainees was instrumental in mobilizing public support and advocating for their release. Journalists and media outlets provided in-depth coverage of the detainees' situations, bringing their stories to a global audience. This coverage helped maintain pressure on governments to prioritize their release and engage in negotiations, ultimately contributing to the success of the prisoner swap. Public opinion on the prisoner swap was largely supportive, with many people expressing relief and joy at the release of Gershkovich and Whelan. The American public saw the swap as a triumph for diplomacy and a reaffirmation of the country's commitment to bringing its citizens home. However, there were nuanced views on the matter, reflecting a range of opinions regarding the broader implications and ethical considerations. Public sentiment. The American public's reaction to the prisoner swap was mixed, but generally positive. Many viewed it as a necessary and successful diplomatic effort to secure the release of Americans detained under dubious circumstances. Families and supporters of the detainees celebrated their return, expressing deep gratitude to the government for its persistent efforts. However, there were concerns about the broader implications of such exchanges. Critics argued that negotiating with countries like Russia might set a dangerous precedent, potentially encouraging further detentions and undermining international norms. These voices emphasized the need to balance the immediate humanitarian benefits of securing detainees' release with the long-term implications for global security and the rule of law. From the perspective of the US government, the successful negotiation and execution of the prisoner swap represented a significant diplomatic victory. It showcased the administration's ability to navigate complex international challenges and deliver on its promise to protect American citizens abroad. The release of Gershkovich and Whelan underscored the US government's commitment to bringing home Americans wrongfully detained overseas. It was a tangible demonstration of the lengths to which the government would go to ensure the safety and well-being of its citizens. The successful negotiations highlighted the administration's diplomatic capabilities. Engaging with Russia, a nation with which the US has significant geopolitical tensions, and reaching a mutually acceptable agreement was seen as a testament to effective diplomacy. The swap raised important ethical and policy questions that the American government had to address. One of the primary ethical concerns was whether the exchange would incentivize other states or non-state actors to detain Americans in the future. The fear was that this could set a precedent, making it more dangerous for Americans traveling or working abroad. There were also concerns about the implications for justice and the rule of law. Critics argued that releasing individuals convicted of serious crimes, such as Vadim Krasikov, in exchange for detainees could undermine the integrity of the legal process and international law enforcement efforts. The US government had to balance the humanitarian need to secure the release of its citizens with broader national security interests. This included ensuring that any exchange did not compromise long-term security or embolden adversaries to use detention as a political tool. Political repercussions. Domestically, the prisoner swap had political repercussions, influencing public opinion and potentially impacting future policy decisions. Bipartisan support and criticism. The response to the swap saw a mix of bipartisan support and criticism. While many politicians across the political spectrum lauded the successful return of American detainees, others criticized the decision to negotiate with Russia, arguing it might embolden similar behavior from other adversarial nations. Future diplomatic strategies. The swap could influence future diplomatic strategies, with policymakers needing to carefully consider the long-term ramifications of similar exchanges. This might lead to the development of more robust frameworks and guidelines for handling cases of wrongful detention, balancing immediate humanitarian concerns with broader strategic interests. Impact on US-Russia relations. The prisoner swap, while a moment of cooperation, did not fundamentally alter the underlying tensions between the US and Russia. However, it did provide a glimmer of hope for the potential to find common ground on specific issues. Limited thaw in relations. The successful execution of the swap indicated that despite profound disagreements, there are still areas where the US and Russia can engage constructively. This might encourage future negotiations on other issues, although significant challenges remain. Symbolic gesture. The swap served as a symbolic gesture, demonstrating that dialogue and negotiation are possible even amid intense geopolitical rivalry. It highlighted the importance of maintaining open channels of communication and seeking diplomatic solutions to complex international problems. Long-term outlook. The long-term outlook for US-Russia relations remains uncertain, with deep-seated conflicts and competing interests continuing to drive the relationship. However, the prisoner swap offers a case study in the potential for diplomacy to achieve meaningful outcomes, even in the most challenging circumstances. Continued vigilance and diplomacy. Moving forward, the US will need to remain vigilant in protecting its citizens, while continuing to engage in diplomatic efforts to address broader geopolitical issues. This will require a nuanced approach, balancing immediate humanitarian needs with long-term strategic interests. Strengthening international norms. The US might also work to strengthen international norms and agreements to prevent wrongful detentions and promote the rule of law. This could involve greater cooperation with allies and international organizations to create a more robust framework for addressing such issues. Conclusion. The Russia-US prisoner swap is a multifaceted event with far-reaching implications. It is a testament to the power of diplomacy and negotiation, even in the face of seemingly insurmountable challenges. The successful release of Evan Gershkovich and Paul Whelan underscores the importance of upholding human rights and prioritizing the well-being of individuals caught in the crossfire of geopolitical conflicts. While the swap offers a glimmer of hope for improved relations between the US and Russia, it also raises critical ethical and policy questions that must be carefully considered. The long-term impact of the exchange on international norms, national security, and the rule of law will require ongoing vigilance and thoughtful policymaking. Ultimately, the prisoner swap serves as a reminder that even in times of profound conflict, cooperation is possible on specific issues of mutual interest. It highlights the importance of maintaining open channels of communication and seeking diplomatic solutions to complex international problems. The release of Gershkovich and Whelan is a cause for celebration and a testament to the enduring value of diplomacy in resolving even the most challenging disputes.